Age doesn't matter. I mean, truthfully,
it doesn't.
I'm not going to say hate because hate is a strong word, but I just like the females that tell me, oh, it's like rocking the cradle, or it's like, oh, you're wet behind the ears. I'm like, that's so. You're like 5, 6 years old. You're not that much older than me. Come on, that's disrespectful to him. Like, to slap
you need a comeback. You just need a real solid comeback.
People just use age as a measure of intellect and.
Yeah, but clearly we've come beyond the point that even matters.
Yeah.
Because you gotta understand that
look at our president.
The Rugrats are older than him. Like,
the Rugrats? I used to watch the Rugrats.
They're older.
The Rugrats came out 95, 96.
But that doesn't inflict any kind of.
Well, there we go. 92. I'm sorry, 92. I thought about numbers.
I don't know. I think it definitely just allows people to feel superior in some kind of way. They're like, oh, I'm older now. I can tell you for sure. Like, I think that with parents, like they feel like they have this right because they're older, you know, and they look down on people who are younger. It's an elder thing. Even in high school, like being a senior in dance troops that I was in, it came with seniority because they were here longer, because they were here older. Not necessarily because they were more talented than me or anything. Not to say that to any measure or degree that they had more of what I was lacking. It was simply because they were older, and I think it's just an unfair thing that we do.
I think experience.
I think the only way age really matters is, I've seen this in numerous cases. Back when I was in high school, I've seen females date guys that were like 26, 27. I feel like that's a little too much. Like, if you're like 16, 17, you shouldn't be going out with a guy that's a whole 10 years older than you. That's a little bit, that's pushing it too much. That's kind of statutory rape, I want to say.
I mean, look, when you look at it this way, right? What's going to get talked about more? You dating a high school quarterback, or you 26-year-old? You dating a 26-year-old?
I mean, if we dissect it, it's all just judgment.
Yeah, no.
If we really get to the root of it, it is judgment, you know?
But where does it come from?
If we refer to biblical days, young girls were sold. So,
yeah.
But at that time, it was the normal, so there was no judgment. And then as time progressed, as well as technology and the mind, we started judging people for different things. We created what was right and what was wrong. And now people just be out here like, oh, I'm this age and you ain't shit, you ain't smart. Like, you know, that's whack, because it's a lot of motherfuckers that don't know nothing. And I know a whole lot.
Yeah.
So.
Here's the deal. And I'm going to say this, and coming from a coach's perspective, it's like, experience in a particular area is what actually makes you, in a sense, I hate using these types of words, it's really strong, but superior, because I can have a 19-year-old kid and I can have
but it's not superior, it's just indifferent.
Oh, well,
there's something in you that is triggered by the feeling or the need to feel superior, and that's when you begin to do shadow work on yourself, and why you feel like you need to align age with that word of superiority, or why you even use that in relation to another human, because we're all just here floating and shit.
Yeah.
Know what I'm saying?
And going back to what you said with the experience, it's kind of like us getting out of college now and competing with people that have been like in the industry, with whatever industry it might be, like you know, applying for that same job, and them looking at you like you're not capable of doing the job that they're doing, or even better. Like, you know, it's a perspective. It's indifferent. It's not definitely not necessarily they're superior. It's just a different perspective.
Exactly.
Number one thing that rule the world, can we all agree that is fear?
Okay. I would say that it's half love, half fear, but continue.
Right. So the fear in those older people, right? and the older people that had that quote unquote superiority, or the indifference, they feel like because they're older and they've experienced more, and they may have ins and outs, but you have the new technology. That's what the new wave is. It's the technology that's to make you feel like I can do the same things that you do. But they feel like in a crunch situation where you need, you know, that when you fall onto that human error, they feel like we're more capable to handle things. Versus, well, you've never been in a situation where you had to make a quick decision and, you know, it was, you know, live or die. Mm-hmm. And that sometimes is another thing that can get in the way. But like I said, it's all about, you know.
I don't know where y'all minds is elevated to, because I can get real deep on this. You feel me? Like,
that's what we here for.
I just don't feel like none of this shit is real. Like, it's all a game. Like, reality is literally and most literally a game. So for me, I definitely think that there's things that my grandmother does not know that I know. there's parts of my spirituality and of my mind that I have unlocked and that I have related to that she does not. There's ways that I observe myself third person and see the things that I do, experience ego, accept it, and then decide not to be ego and to be self that my grandmother does not understand. There's things that my dad cannot grow past that I have been able to. So age, to me, is indifferent.
Yeah, that was deep.
Here.
I hear that.
Here.
I think that social media, truthfully, it is both a gift and a curse. It's a gift because, you know, you get to, you know, pretty much, what's the word I'm looking for? You get to socialize with other people, obviously, but it's a curse because people don't know how to communicate nowadays. Especially if you're a guy or a female, or if you go on a date, and I feel like, because I've been on a few dates where there's like the female's just on their phone, and when I try to communicate with them, they don't have shit to say. I'm just like, so you don't know how to start a conversation? Because I mean, I'm a little bit old school, even though I'm 22, 23, but I like to have verbal conversations, not be on the phone at a dinner, you know, like at a dinner table. So that's my take on it, truthfully.
I mean, when you get into like the study of social media, like the chemical that's released when people like your photo or when they comment on your photo, that's similar to the chemical that's released during orgasms. It's like it creates the same feeling of happiness and intimacy, and you feel wanted because somebody liked your photo or someone commented on your photo. It's weird. Like, we scroll on Instagram and Twitter and Snapchat and literally look into people's lives, and we don't even have interpersonal connections with them. Like, it's a little weird. Like, nobody minds their own business. You could find out whatever you want about somebody. Oh, I know they broke up because he took it down on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That shit not cool. I don't know. I don't know.
I think you just gotta know where to put it. I mean, for me, I don't put anything personal on Instagram. It's purely for like my business. It's purely like, you know, to connect with people. I think a lot of people got famous off of Instagram, which is a dope thing. If you can make money off of Instagram, off of social media, then you win. And
you make
my
money
looks,
of anything.
it's like, you gotta make sure you know where it is and know where your mind is. It's like, you know, when you're on there, you're working, and when you're not on there, it's like, you know, I'm trying to say word. Like, don't scroll and like snoop through people's stuff unless you're researching. Like, you know, trying to find parties, what other DJs are doing, or what other artists are doing, whatever. But I mean, getting emotionally like involved in it is kind of like, it's like insane.
Right.
Yeah.
From what you said social media gets people famous. I feel like social media gets the wrong people famous because they're talented people such as her, but there's people like the Cash Me Outside girl who just got a deal. She shouldn't have.
Well, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like, who's to say that she's the wrong people?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just heard one of her tracks and I was like,
there you go.
Damn. I was like, I didn't know she had that. Like, you know what I'm saying? You never know what somebody's going through just because you only see, like, through that little window, that's all you see. And then, you know, she wrote down, like, clearly, these are things that she's been through. She wrote them on a piece of paper, and I listened to the lyrics, and I was like, damn, well, she did all of this. And you try to minimize all of the bullshit, and you look at it like, look, she got daddy issues. You know what I'm saying? So she acted out. And it's just the same old thing that, like, you know, Freud and them, you know, like Freud and them would say, well, if you got daddy issues as a girl, you're going to sleep with 1,000 men, or you're going to act out and do this kind of way, you're going to be this way kind of way. But it's just, you know what I'm saying, like, just to bring it back to, like, how open. But I'm just saying, I'm saying, like, that's how people think, and it's kind of like you could make the connection, because I was like, all right, well, if that's the case, you know, you want to say there was a more positive way to do it, but how the hell would she know? She's 13.
True. But the way she got famous, I mean, I feel like the younger generation, I feel like they're getting all these people famous. Because, like, all right, so she was on Dr. Phil, right? So, I mean, she was pretty much a white girl who was disrespecting her parents and acting ghetto. But say if a black girl was to do that, she would be considered ghetto, ratchet, and, you know, should be called other names that I'm not going to say on camera.
All right, so what's the difference between unique and normal?
But why can a black girl do it, though?
That's a serious question.
Like,
yeah.
Between unique and normal,
right.
I think that the word unique, or the emotion that we associate with the word unique, because really they're just letters floating, but the emotion that we put to that word has more to do with individuality and, you know, being, and not even individuality because that's I divides all, but just being true to whomever you feel centered in, whereas normal is whomever society feels comfortable in.
But I think it's all society. Both.
I mean,
as far as judging what's unique. Like, let's take
Let me ask you a question.
Wait. We're gonna take the same thing. Like, cause my man's got an issue with Eminem. Now, as a kid growing up in the hood and then moving to the suburbs, I listened to Eminem and I was like, oh, this dude is cool. But I didn't think this dude is cool because he's a white rapper. But this is how people in the hood portrayed it as him appropriating black culture. Now I'm like, no, Eminem is cool because he talk about wild, crazy shit. And that's just me personally why I liked it. And now to take it back to I forgot her name, Daniel, whatever, Bad Baby, whatever her name is.
Danielle Bregoli.
There you go. Take it, how people look on the outside is, oh, this white girl is acting black. Therefore, let's highlight her. And this is people, this is not like just the normal person. This is the person behind the camera saying, let's give her attention. And because we know that people are just gonna suck this up. They just gonna keep sucking it up.
All right, but
okay, but how does that then thread back to your question of normal versus
what people seem to be as a black girl being ghetto and ratchet? They look at that as the norm. That's nothing. That's not.
Okay, but the fact that she is another race, what is the word you use? Appropriating a black girl or whatever the case is, that is portraying. That is what, in fact, makes her unique. You know what I'm saying?
To the other people, not to me.
Not
to
to
the other people.
Not to us. Certainly not to us. But even the idea, or even like the statement to say like, what is black, what is white, what is Hispanic, what is Korean, what is Asian, like that is an empty, ignorant thought in itself. So it's just an ignorant time of ignorant people who are like, oh my gosh, she white, but she acting black. Like, what does that even mean? It's just a type of heart. It's a type of person. It's a type of culture. It's not a skin color.
Characteristics
so
have destroyed us.
It really is characteristics. It's not skin color at all.
It's not.
So, I mean, the longer that we keep making statements like the one you did, white girl trying to act black, people will look at it as white girl trying to act black
right.
instead of just a girl.
Right.
She's just
a girl.
Okay.
You did? Like.
But the other thing with social media, I feel like, so when we were growing up, we went outside. We're active. We go outside, play tag. We go outside, play hide and seek. We go outside, do whatever, be kids.
Right.
Nowadays, if you see a kid, they're in the house, on the tablet, the phone, the computer. Like, that's also.
And you know what that is? That's where parents mess up because they are so full of fear themselves. I can speak from my experience only being raised with under a single father. And he definitely would be contradictory when he would say, get outside, right? But then be like, be in here by 10 o'clock. You know what I'm saying? Like, who about to be in the, like, I'm 17 years old. Like, what you mean be
I was
inside?
definitely about to ask, like, what time? Like, yo, if you was like 6,
mean?
like, yo,
what do you mean
be in the house, like, what you mean?
Like, oh, like, you can only, like, there were just so many rules, and there's so many rules that people create in the home for their children that are restricting. If you're telling your kid they can't do this and they can't do that based on your level of comfort because of whatever fears you've constructed against society, then you're also limiting your child, because if they can't go outside and be social, what are they going to resort to?
Yeah. And then they're going to be social with some creep on the game.
Then they're going to be social online.
Yeah.
And it just really takes away our interpersonal connections. We don't know how to talk to people. We get social anxiety. We don't understand that it's okay to be unique and to be yourself. Like, and the people that are unique and are themselves, we praise them, but we still miss the point. Kehlani, they was calling her dirty, calling her all these things, saying she got all these tattoos, she ain't gonna never be shit. Cardi B, same thing. She's a stripper hoe. She always got her tongue out. She ain't gonna never be nothing. Chick, yeah. She loud ghetto chick. But now look, women are feeling more free to get tattooed. Women are feeling more free to own their sexuality or own whatever hustle they gotta be on, knowing that it will progress them. So I think it's really about being true to yourself. That's what all of this is about, you know?